Hi, welcome to One Eye on the Page. I'm Scott. We are doing a countdown of Stephen King short stories, all 115 published and completed short stories. We are doing stories 45 through 41 now. Let's go ahead and get started. Coming in at number 45 in the collection Nightmares and Dreamscapes is Dedication. Dedication is one of those short stories in which King very famously often says, you know, if he can't get the terror, he'll go for something lesser, and if he can't get that, he'll go for the gross out. This is one where he kind of goes for the gross out in a way that I won't describe because part of it is a spoiler for the story. But it is about a woman. She's a maid. She has a very successful son, and she did something to guarantee that son's success. A lot of the enjoyment of the story will honestly depend on how you view, which is essentially a mother will do whatever she can for her children. And this takes it to a very physical, visceral uh, extent. It doesn't bother me, but I could see how it would bother others. And I will also say, do I feel that it need to be demonstrated in this way? For what King is trying to say with the story, possibly, but I do think that there is an element of King going like, I kind of want to gross you out a little bit. Does it work? Probably for some people. Uh, but as a demonstration of a mother's love for her child, it is well written. Just don't I don't know about the resolution of it, but I do have it ranked 45. So short story number 44, which published in the Bazaar of Bad Dreams, is called A Death. It was originally published in New Yorker, as with some other stories that he's published in New Yorker. It King trying something different to varying successes. The last one I remember, I believe, it was called The Music Room, which I didn't enjoy overall. Another story, well written. I don't really think that it is a story in the way that I see a story with a climax and story beats, whatever. This one is it's set in the 1800s. It's about the arrest of a person for murder. He's going to be executed, and the sheriff isn't quite sure of this person's guilt. And it's basically the sheriff going back and forth about the morality of this. And I will say, without giving away the end of the story, that we do find out by the end of the story whether or not this person was guilty or not. It's one of those things that King does, steps outside what is usually his wheelhouse. And as I said before, with varying degrees of success, I think this one was fairly successful. I think this one was fairly successful. Not one of my favorite stories, but still a very good story. Short story number 43, also published in the Bazaar of Bad Dreams, is Herman Wouk is Still Alive. The title of the story was based on essentially a bet with his son Owen. Owen came up with the title, and King wrote a story based on that title. It was originally published in the Atlantic. There are several different characters in here. It's essentially about two women in a van with their children. deciding that there's really nothing to go on for and take out the entire van. And there are witnesses to this. It's a very King like story, at least for short stories. I do generally think his longer works tend to, not always, such as in Revival, it doesn't, but often sees the good in, oh, a cat, the good in mankind. This one is just like, this is the dark side of America, and it's just a snapshot of that. Again, very good story. Not something that I would seek out often to read. Still very good. Short story number 42 is sort of published in Creepshow. It is published in comic book form as The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill, but it is Weeds. It was originally published in Cavalier in 1976. If you have read the book or if you've seen the movie, you know the essentials of the story, and the short story itself is pretty much the same, except the comic strip and especially the movie make it a more comic turn with very campy, good for the campiness acting by Stephen King as Jordy Verrill. But the short story is much darker. And I I judge this on the short story, but I do have the memory of the movie also. And though I think the short story is better than the movie, I don't know if the movie didn't exist, whether or not it would rank quite this highly, but I still think it would rank fairly highly. Uh, 42, maybe not, maybe in the 60s or something, but I feel good with the quality of the short story and my nostalgia of the movie ranking this at 42. It has not been collected as a short story in any collection. The closest we have is that in comic strip form in the Creepshow book, but the short story itself has not been collected in a collection. There are a few short stories that I think that should be the case. Man with a Belly. But I think this story is too good for it to not have been collected. Now, I don't know if there's any reason it hasn't. It should be. Short story number 41 is On Slide In Road in You Like It Darker. Was originally published in Esquire in 2020. King is quite open about the fact that this is pretty much an homage to Flannery O'Connor's A Good Man is Hard to Find. It has several of the same beats. I think, without giving away spoilers for O'Connor's story, I think the ending is somewhat different. I think the only things that I would say that go against this for me, as far as being higher, is one, it's very similar to O'Connor's story, so that it obviously loses some points on originality. I don't think it distinguishes itself enough from that story to get it higher for me. And also, I don't think that the treatment in the story of the father in the story is warranted by what we get in the story. So that is 45 through 41. You might notice that I haven't been posting these regularly. Summer is always a trip for me because uh, my kid usually spends the summer with her mother, and things happen this summer. So summer for me has just been messed up. But I hope, uh, which will be seen by the fact that the next Stephen King video you see, I will be wearing the same shirt because I'm recording it right after this. I hope to be putting out videos again more regularly. So that is it for this time. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will talk to you in a few minutes or a week or so from now.